As a guy who's been listening to Travis Scott albums since his earlier days, I'm talking about Al Pharaoh, Days Before Rodeo, and as a huge fan of the first JackBoys album, I noticed something interesting, right? I noticed that the internet is split on how to perceive this album. You got one side saying that it's trash, it's mid, that it didn't live up to the hype, and you got another side that's saying this is a really great album, 16 for 17, 14 for 17, that it's extremely fire. And as a non-biased Travis Scott fan, I figured I'll give you some insight into this album and give you my final rating after having some time to sit down with the album. To understand the JackBoys 2 album, you gotta understand the momentum leading up to it. The first JackBoys project dropped at the peak of Travis Scott's mainstream career. I mean, I'm talking about Astral. Once Astral dropped, everything was crazy from then on. That first JackBoys album, nobody could say anything wrong with it. Fast forward today, we got Travis Scott dropping Utopia, we got Don Toliver doing arena tours, and the whole JackBoys kind of label really has grown from then. Even with the rollout, right? They had people doing IG posts. They had a bunch of stuff leading up to this album. They even had the beef with the clips kind of leading into dropping around the same time. So there was indeed a lot of hype for this project, man. Production-wise, JackBoys 2 is very cinematic, it's very loud and in your face. It's exactly what you would expect from a Travis Scott-led project. The beats are very layered, chaotic, yet still controlled. For example, you got tracks like Champion and Vacay, 2000's Excursion, as well as others that give you that real festival feel. There's a mix of psychedelic textures and drill-inspired bass lines, and some Houston influences at times, obviously because they're from Houston, but I also really want to place emphasis at there's also times in this album where they take regional sounds. For example, the last track, Florida flows with the Kodak Black and all that whole Miami, Florida kind of flow. You even got some island vibes on there with the track PBT with Tyla and Vybz Kartel. There is also a section within this project where you could tell that Travis Scott really catered to the current landscape of music with the Playboi Carti and Ken Carson type beats. They even fused a little bit of SpongeBob with the song Shine. You know, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due, man. This production on this album is extremely fire. It really knows how to grab your attention and put you down for a ride. Yes, the production is fire, but there was a few times where I felt like the beat dragged on for too bit, like we got used to the same sound. I mean, some might say contest, some might say beep beep, even though I love the instrumentals of both of them, but then you listen to them in its entirety, it's like, you could have cut down with some of the fluff. As for lyrical themes, man, let's be honest, nobody is checking out a Travis Scott project or a JackBoys project and thinking, yo, we're gonna get some real great raps. But even with that, the lyrical themes do seem to get repetitive because again, this is a 17-track album. It's the usual flexing, fast life, paranoia, loyalty, and of course, the hoes. But me personally, I just wanted a little bit more cohesion within this album because I feel like there's some songs you could have removed. And at the same time, let's think about the first JackBoys. There was only 7 tracks on that. Every song on that album felt like a moment. There's literally only one line that people are referring to back to this project, and I don't even want to say it, but it's the line referring to Pusha T. Look, I am a fan of both of them, even more so a fan of Travis Scott, but I just wish he never replied. Like, there's no reason for you to even go back at Pusha T. You could have just stayed quiet. I even saw some fans defending the line, saying that was the hardest bar, double entendre this, but that is the weakest double entendre I've ever heard. There was also times where Travis Scott was trying to be a punchline rapper at times. If you saw my first reaction, you know what I'm talking about. And it just didn't land, but those beats were hard as shit that you didn't even care. On a brighter note, Sheck Wes was doing the same thing, but every time he hopped on a track, that flow and that energy was really needed. Velour and 2000's Excursion really highlight that, man. I mean, he needed more airtime on this album for sure. I honestly thought he was gonna play a bigger role within the JackBoys 2 project, given that when he was on JackBoys, the first project, everybody loved him. In addition, we also got a really great GloRilla verse, but that SpongeBob element really ruined it for her. In my opinion, I thought NBA YoungBoy really did his fucking thing. I honestly wish he started off the track rather than finishing it because of how fire it was. Kodak Black as well. At the end of Florida Flows, he just literally just rolled the beat and that shit was so smooth. Now, I do want to talk some of the highlights of this album. I'm looking at the track list right here. I mean, you got Champion and Vacay, Travis Scott's in his bag, Wild Energy, beat goes fucking stupid, and Waka Flocka bringing that great energy that we all needed. Definitely love the hype aspect of it. You also got 2000's Excursion, which is Don Toliver floated. This is in his zone. Sheck Wes really showed out with his verse and just gave a really good contrast to Travis Scott's verse. That track really embodies what the whole trio of them three can really do. Oh, also MM3 was a perfect underrated banger, man. That sequencing within the tracks kind of giving you like that perfect switch up in production. SoFaygo really showed out, man. That one was a banger. His melody choices, fire. I also love Kick Out. That song actually got updated. They removed some of 21 Savage's ad-libs on that track. And Dumbo is really amazing, man. They had that very repetitive sound that gave you Travis Scott in his psychedelic bag. Now for some of the lowlights, man. I mean, the song Shine, love the beat, man. That was an amazing ass beat. GloRilla's verse was great, but again, that SpongeBob element.
Preparing the Krabby Patty.
Another lowlight was the song PBT. And my first reaction, I did vibe with it, but after more listens, the chemistry felt forced. I actually think that Travis Scott has done that international sound way better before, like with the song K-pop, and this song just didn't really hit. I felt like towards the second half, the last third of the project, I felt that these songs really dragged, and the album was longer than it needed to be. So where does JackBoys 2 land for me? To give you my final score, I have to tell you that this is an album that got way better for me after the first listen. The first listen, I was giving it like a 5 or 6. But now that I got to sit with the project and really enjoy it, give it the car test, go to the gym with it, play it around some yammeens, I'm gonna have to give this album a 6.8. I do want to give it a 7, but then also there's that filler within the project, and some songs after you listen to them for quite a while, they don't hit the same anymore. I honestly wish they shortened up the project because again, JackBoys, the first one has 7 tracks and every track felt like a moment. I felt like they could have done that with the JackBoys 2 project, and they had the tracks to do it if they had shortened the album. Look, man, that's just my take. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear yours. Drop your favorite tracks in the comments. Also, let me know your rating for this album and be non-biased. Do you love JackBoys 2 or was it mid to you? Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll catch you on the next one.